Guys, welcome to Google Docs or the tutorial on Google Docs. You can access Google Docs by going and doing the same thing that you did to access Google Slides. You just go to Google Docs, or you would go to the waffle and find Google Docs up there. The other option that you have for any of the Google Suite features or apps is you can actually go to Drive and then create a Google Doc within Drive, or create Google Slides, Sheets, Forms, and more. And so you can do that way. So if I was going to create a Google Doc, it would look something like this. And there are several features within Google Docs that are similar to those of Google Slides. So those ones I'm not going to be going over as in depth. But there are some other options that I want you guys to be aware of so that you have that when you go to get started. So I'll start with File. File, like you can move the Google Doc into a folder within Google Drive, just like you could with Google Slides. You can also see the version history by going to version history there, or also here, same as Google Slides. You can change the page setup. You can do different formats looking at it that way, or you can print it just like with Google Slides. The view gives you options of how to view it. I don't really worry about this a lot unless you really need to be specific with certain things. You're able to insert things just like you were with Google Slides. They just look a little different. And instead of being able to insert like lines and like specific lines and shapes and those kind of things, it gives you the option of drawing. I find drawing more complicated to use, and that's why I like using Google Slides for that option. But drawing can be a really good option if you want to use Google Docs. And so you would just go there and you could create a new one, or you can use one that you've already made. And then it does allow you to actually create like an image or create whatever you need to using this. And this is also can be helpful because once you've made this, you can change, like let's say I'm just going to do that. That's my drawing. Then once I've made it, I can figure out how I want it to be on the page, and I can kind of play with how I would like that to be. And so if I'm working with formatting, I did this, for example, with my back to school newsletter, and I was trying to get so many things on one page. I was able to do a couple of drawings and then format it more specifically for what I was looking for, what I wanted the page to be looking like. And so you can do that with drawing. But a lot of the other options are the same or very similar, and so they're you can just see them there. With Google Docs, you can look at your headers and footers. You can also double click at the top or double click at the bottom, and your header and footer will appear. One thing that I tell my kids a lot, and we really talk about, is we do like MLA headers, and so they'll do that, but you don't want it to appear on every page. And so I always put different first page, and then whatever you type here, I know, great, will not appear on your second page. So you can have a different first page, and there's other options too. If you go there, and so you can look into that. You can also add page numbers to your headers, to your footers, whatever it may be. You can do that, and then you can also link certain things within the document and create like a hyperdoc by doing Control K or link, or you can also go up here to this link option as well. And then looking at the toolbar is very similar. You can change the text, you can change the font size, you can bold it, you can italicize, you can underline, change the color, highlight, link, like we already talked about, and then you can also change the, like how it is positioned. You can change the spacing. There's a few more options with this because a lot of times when people are using Google Docs, they're doing some sort of paper, and so certain formats require certain things. You also have a checklist menu, which is different than Google Docs, or sorry, Google Slides. So you can go in and actually create a checklist, but you have the same bullet options and number options that you did. Also looking at creating a list within Google Docs or Google Slides. If I was creating a list of things, which, I mean, this is a very important list, if you click on the actual bullet itself and then double click with like 2 fingers, you can go to more bullets. This is an awesome option. I use this a lot in Google Slides to be creative with my slides. And I can give you guys a couple of examples if you want me to. But let's say I'm doing a paper on something nature. So maybe not nature, but let's see, what would be a nature thing? Leaf. So then I could look at these options. Oh, or maybe I'm doing something on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. But here's some leaves. And so it just adds like a little bit of a zest to whatever you're doing, so that maybe it's more creative than just a blank like bullet. And you can do whatever you would like with this. For example, I did a whole War of the Worlds unit with my honors class. And if you know that, you know that that's about aliens. So all of my slides had bullet points that looked like this. And the kids thought it was pretty funny. So that's an option in Google Slides and Google Docs that you can do with lists as well. There's only a few other options that I want to tell you about, or just so that you're aware of. One of them happens to be in format or underneath format. There's really more options that you can get into on how you want to set things up, but a lot of times you don't really have to play with that. The option that I wanted to share with you was columns, or word columns. So if you wanted to create a document with multiple columns, or if you were doing some sort of something that wasn't just like a blanket paper, then you could go in here and you could create columns. You can do 2 or 3, or then go into more options and see what other options you have as well. You also have all of these tools that you can use. More specifically, spelling and grammar really helps, and you can do a spelling and grammar check. Word count, kids are always wondering like how many words they need to get, and so that helps them see that there, and then you can just go on from there. The last thing I really want to go over with you guys before I wrap this up would be voice typing, or really I'm showing you this because you can use this with your students, especially those that are on an IEP that might struggle typing or need more help, need more time. This is a quicker way of doing certain things, so you can actually have them do like voice to text. There's also other options and features within different programs that you can use as well, but they can definitely do voice typing if nothing else, or you can do it if you want to, but that is a good option for them to use. And then lastly, if you want to share it, it's the same as if you're doing a Google Slides, but you share it to whomever you want. You change the accessibility and so on and so forth. So if you guys have any questions about Google Docs, let me know. I would be happy to go over more things with you, or more of the features, or even show you some of the examples of things that I've done within Google Docs. So just let me know, and I hope that this tutorial on Google Docs helps.